What it do, what it do, what it do? It's your boy, Sally Sell, and we back in here with another episode of Juice City Legend. If you are not, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. Alright, what's up, gang, man? I hope everybody out there having a good day, man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we back in here, man, with some more dope dope content. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to everybody that been tuning in, checking out, supporting, man. I appreciate that, man. You know what I'm saying? But today, man, we finna get into another topic, man. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all my fans out there, bro. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I had to say that one more time. But today, man, we're gonna get into some conspiracy theories, man. How many of y'all believe in conspiracy theories? You know what I'm saying? It's a theory, you know what I'm saying? Conspiracy, you know what I'm saying? It's however you take it. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get into some conspiracy theories today. Hold on now, let me hit this thing real quick. Yeah. So today, we're gonna get into I got a question for y'all, man. How many of y'all feel like gangsta rap was made by the government? Yeah, we about to go there. You know what I'm saying? How many of y'all think that gangsta rap, everything that y'all love doing, you know what I'm saying? All the step of music, drug selling culture, degrading women, all that was allegedly started by the government. Alright, so let me bring it all the way back to the back. Let me explain y'all where I'm coming from. Okay. Now, how did our people get from we shall overcome to F it? You know what I'm saying? We gang banging. Blood, Crip, Vice Lord, Gangster, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to all them organizations, because when the forefathers created those organizations, it was meant to protect the hood, you know what I'm saying, from the power that be, from the high ups, from the authorities, from the it was designed to keep, you know what I'm saying, to protect the hood. But somewhere down the line, the message went the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, for all my old heads out here, man, how many of y'all remember when they used to play R&B music on the radio? I remember y'all remember when they used to play R&B music on the radio, and you know what I'm saying, you had to call in on the box to listen to rap music. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these kids don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Now, rap is the number one genre in the world, over rock and roll, over pop music, over bluegrass. You know what I'm saying? Over jazz, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop music is the number one genre of music. You know what I'm saying? Anytime any kind of company want to get an artist to promote their product, they're gonna go get a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Because a rapper has the most influence on the youth. You know what I'm saying? So when I break down my story, you know what I'm saying? And really, it ain't none of my theory. You know what I'm saying? This is something that I have, a thread I read on years ago, maybe 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I actually seen other people, credible sources, speak on this same article that I read on years ago. Okay, so supposedly, years and years ago, it was a meeting that went down with all the top execs in the music industry. And some of the people in the meeting was supposedly some top flight officials, you know what I'm saying? People in the government, people that work for the CIA, people that work in the White House, you know what I'm saying? This is allegedly, you know what I'm saying? This is alleged, you know what I'm saying? So, for the young people who don't know, at one time, well, when rap first was started, when they first came out of the South Side Bronx in New York City in 1977, you know what I'm saying? It was made from break beats. Break beats was like they used to have the disco era was jumping in the 70s or whatever. So on all the disco songs, you go back and listen to some of those songs that your grandparents them might listen to, James Brown, uh, Chick, and all that. Uh, in the beat, you know what I'm saying? It would break down, and they would always play like probably 2-3 minutes of the song would be just a drum pattern. You know what I'm saying? The bass line or whatever. Now this is what started hip hop, you know what I'm saying? In the 1970s at a house party in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? I want to say it was don't. I want to say it might have been DJ Red Alert. You know what I'm saying, from New York City. Mr. Michael, one of them guys. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying. They started playing. You know what I'm saying, the breakdown in the at the end of a song. You know what I'm saying. I think this song was Chick. You know what I'm saying. And for y'all who don't know Chick, they wait for my time. I just know about this because my people never used to listen to disco and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying. But they had a song called Good Times. You know what I'm saying? And then when it first come on, it got a bass line. Doom, doom, doom. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Good times. Good times. Now, did that bass line sound familiar? I said a hip, a hop, a hippie to the hip, hop, you don't stop. A rocket to the bang, bang, boogity up, jumps the boogie to the boogity beat. Yeah, that's my best little version of that. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? So hip hop was started from that right there, you know what I'm saying? A little bit reggae, cause reggae had a big influence on New York City, cause a lot of people from in New York City was immigrants or whatever coming from Jamaica and, you know what I'm saying, the islands and all that right there. So they had a, you know what I'm saying, reggaeton type of influence on them or whatever. So hip hop started from some funk music, some disco music, some reggae, you know what I'm saying? And it started in New York City on the party scene, you know what I'm saying? So it was all about party, having a good time or whatever. It was all about party and having a good time. So, you know, just like anything, it evolved, you know what I'm saying? You had people like Grandmaster Cash and Cool Mo D and, you know what I'm saying, the Funky Five plus one, what is it? One of them groups from back in the day, man. This way for my time. I'm just a hip hop historian. Now that I know about some of this stuff, whatever, because some of my old heads used to listen to this, my uncles and aunts or whatever when I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? And but anyway, as they started evolving, you know what I'm saying? They were still talking about party music and all that right there. You know what I'm saying? They were still talking about party music, but you know what I'm saying? When they first started doing it, it was like chanting. They were chanting with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. They weren't really rapping. They were just, you know what I'm saying, moving the crowd. That's where the term MC come from. You got to move the crowd. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? As more and more rappers started getting into the game, you know what I'm saying? They started working on their craft. They started doing more than just chanting. They started coming in with flows or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, one of my favorite rappers from back in the day, the first dude that I thought was cold was Cool Mo D. You know what I'm saying? Cool Mo D, he came up in the 80s or whatever. And he one of the forefathers, you know what I'm saying? He one of the, whatever they say Jay-Z is now, or whoever the hottest rapper is now, that's what Cool Mo D was back in the 80s. He was the top dog, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? But back then, they used to always just rap about how good they can rap. You know what I'm saying? Or it'd be party music, or it'd be somebody girl, how fly they was, something like that. They were doing stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Now, this was New York City. You know what I'm saying? But, and everybody knows New York is the Mecca, you know what I'm saying? I never cover anything about New York City, but I'm going to show New York some love because, you know what I'm saying, I grew up in the 80s. And I remember when New York was the dominant, you know what I'm saying? They had it was New York and nothing, you know what I'm saying? It was New York and nothing. So they end up the music, it was all based around partying and you know what I'm saying? How fly you was, how good you can rap or whatever, but like you say, everything started evolving over the years. And then you know what I'm saying, at the same time on the West Coast, they was doing a similar thing called New York, but it was like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of bass heavy music and whatever and kind of dance vibe music, you know what I'm saying? You had Dr. Dre and the World Class Wrecking Crew back out here in the 80s or whatever. They were making they were like party music, you know what I'm saying? I can't even think of the name of that song Dr. Dre and them had when they were dressed up like doctors and all that right there, but it was like skate ring type of music, you know what I'm saying? That's what hip hop was. But you know what I mean? On the West Coast, it was different from the East Coast. East Coast had gangs and all that right there too, because when Africa Bambaataa and them first and everybody first started getting together to start hip hop or whatever, it was from gang culture. You know what I'm saying? They had stuff like the Spanish, Latin Kings, and a lot of different groups or whatever. If you go watch some of them old movies, it's a lot of movies based on all that type of stuff. I can't really think of them because these movies came out when I was young or whatever. But you go look at some of them old movies, you understand they had gangs or whatever in New York City, but it was kind of different than California. You know what I'm saying? The Crips and Bloods or whatever. And the Crips and Blood culture, they was on the West Coast at the same time where they doing their thing, you know, with the dance music and all this right there. And but they had a gang culture. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm sure everybody know about Crips and Bloods or whatever. We ain't even got to get into that, but we will get into a brief of how they started or whatever. So the Crips and Bloods, basically, just like I was just saying earlier, it was started to protect the neighborhood from outsiders or whatever. And when it was started, this was during the civil rights era. So everybody's mindset, the black men that was coming up in their day, their mindset was kind of different. Now the same stuff was going on. There was trapping going on back then, but they were calling it pushing. You know what I'm saying? It was D-boys back then, they called them pushers. You know what I'm saying? It was girls out here selling their body, they called them strawberries. You know what I mean? All this been going on, the same thing been going on, but it seemed like everybody had a different mentality. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had some kind of sense of hope. You know what I'm saying? Some kind of way everybody wanted to make it. Probably because at that time, a lot of our people was oppressed. You know what I'm saying? This is going on in the civil rights era. A few years after Dr. King and Malcolm X and Meg Evans was assassinated or whatever. So a lot of people at that time, when they were starting to rebel, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Some people, they took the Martin Luther King approach. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be peaceful. We're going to fight you with love. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try to be unified. Some people took the Malcolm X perspective. You know what I'm saying? We're going to kill it any means necessary. We ain't taking no stuff from y'all. Y'all this, y'all that. You know what I mean? Some people took that perspective. You know what I mean? But anyway, out of all this, out of the civil rights era, out of everything that our people went through, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere down the line, Crips and Bloods started. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, when it first started, it was just to protect the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? From outsider, from police brutality, from bullies picking on kids and stuff like that. And they were making sure they brought food and you know what I'm saying, for the kids out of school. They were making sure they helped the kids out of school and with homework and you know what I mean, try to teach them trades and things like that. This what everything was started off of. You know what I mean? But somewhere down the line, drugs, crack cocaine, to be specific. You know what I'm saying? it came in the picture. Now drugs was always around, you know what I'm saying? Like we can go all the way back to the early 1920s in Harlem when you hear about people talking about the Harlem Renaissance or whatever. That was Harlem was like Atlanta is now. You know what I'm saying? And jazz was like what hip hop is now. But the heroin scene was heavy back then. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you see all the old movies back in the day, you had heroin kingpins like Nicky Barnes, Frank Lucas. You know what I'm saying? Frank Matthews. We can go on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? Heroin was the drug of choice. It wiped out a lot of the communities, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't do like what crack cocaine did. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, jazz was the prominent genre at that time. All these black musicians, it was jazz musicians or whatever. And jazz was the popular genre at the time or whatever. And it seemed like for whatever reason, somebody got all the musicians hooked to heroin. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these people, they really been icons had they not have had drug habits and could have flourished and continued with their career. But instead, they talked about, but they're not spoken to the content they need to be talked about. And the power that be end up taking jazz from us, from Harlem. You know what I'm saying? And now we look at jazz, us black people, I'm saying, we look at jazz as a white man genre. But we started that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the hip hop and all that right there come from that. And jazz come from the blues. Everything come from the blues. Well, which was started right here in Mississippi. You understand what I'm saying? But like I was saying, I got off subject. But in the 70s, you know what I'm saying, you had guys that was heroin pushers, but it wasn't like crack cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Now back here on the East Coast, you know what I mean? The East Coast, they taking pride in being the inventors of New York City. So if you coming out of New York City, you got to have a message. You got to be talking about something. You got to know how to rap. You know what I'm saying? So during this time, this the late 80s, going up into the we'll say late 80s, early mid 80s, going up into the late 80s. You know what I'm saying? This was considered the golden era. You know what I'm saying? You had rappers like Slick Rick. You had Big Daddy Kane. You had LL Cool J. You had the Jungle Brothers. You had people like Kid and Play. You know what I'm saying? You had so much. You had Biz Marquis. We can go on and on and on. We had people like Dougie Fresh. You had Special Ed. You had what's my guy? Rakim. You know what I'm saying? All these artists right here, EPMD. All these artists right here, they were from New York City. And like I said, they had to take pride in being called on their mic. So they couldn't just go out there and talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? So New York prided themselves on having a message and knowing how to rap. You know what I'm saying? So at this time, whatever, when all this music was going on, to me, now even though I was a baby at this time, I remember the vibe to a certain extent, how it was from a little kid perspective. It seemed like they had so much fun back in those days or whatever, when you could talk to a girl. You know what I'm saying? You had to court her. You couldn't just throw no money in her face and get her. When you had to go to parties and interact with your people and have fun and, you know what I'm saying? This was their era. You know what I'm saying? When they had deep songs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a whole different vibe during that time. You know what I mean? And on the West Coast, you know what I'm saying, they started evolving as well too. So, you know what I'm saying, before NWA came out, it was a guy named King T from LA. King T was one of the first gangster rappers. King T started rapping about what was going on in LA. You know what I mean? Putting everybody on the LA culture. You understand what I'm saying? And at the same time, you had Dr. Dre, who was with the World Class Wrecking Crew. Him he wanted to make music sort of like King T. You know what I'm saying? But the guy that he had started with making all the damn music, he told me he was crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work, bro. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to hear nothing about no gang banging and nobody shooting at nobody, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? But Dr. Dre, he wanted to make that music. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a DJ. He used to DJ at parties or whatever. And he knew what the crowd wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying? So he ended up meeting with Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? He ended up meeting with Ice Cube because one of Ice Cube partners, I want to say, stayed on Dr. Dre street. They knew this guy named Easy E. We all know Easy put the money up. You know what I'm saying? Easy was a drug dealer from the streets or whatever. Had never been in the record industry. Started Ruthless Records. And we all know the rest history on that.